For your children, it makes you afraid to walk the street.
A dirty and dangerous crisis sweeping through the capital of Canada.
It's disgusting that the capital of Canada has been allowed to turn this rancid.
What is that you got in your hand there?
That's a crack pipe.
Paula Todd.
How long since you did your last hit?
With an addicted population mushrooming in Ottawa.
It's ruined my life.
The frustrating fight for inundated neighborhoods.
You can't walk down the street without a drug dealer approaching you.
And the grim surprises behind many rundown doors.
Look at this. Come here. You're not going to believe this.
And
you're a slut, you're a whore, you're fat.
Children under attack electronically.
You're dead.
Websites and cell phones, the weapon of choice with haunting and sometimes deadly results.
The impact is absolutely devastating.
The numbers are shocking.
Sandy Ronaldo.
Why do you think no one was able to help you?
With the scars for victims in a merciless playground.
The comments, the photographs.
And the adults left to make sense of an often vicious virtual world.
Just because your child looks physically safe sitting in front of a computer monitor, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are.
This is CTV's W5. Here is Lloyd Robertson.
Welcome to W5. Think of our nation's capital, and images of Parliament Hill, the ceremonial changing of the guard, and skating on the Rideau Canal probably come to mind. But there's another side to Ottawa, a side that few like to talk about and police have to deal with every day. Parts of Ottawa's downtown core have now become overrun with drugs, crime, and prostitution. As W5's Paula Todd discovers in this report, what's happening in Ottawa is nothing short of a capital shame.
It's morning on Parliament Hill.
The government sits on this side.
School kids are on tour, getting a lesson in Canadian history.
And the opposition sits facing them.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Down the hall, bureaucrats attend committee meetings.
Those guidelines should be
and our elected officials pontificate on the important issues of the day. But there's one subject they don't like to talk about. It's the trouble in their own backyard. Homelessness.
Oh.
Drunks.
Stay there, Ian.
Junkies.
Step out of the car, you're under arrest.
And hookers.
Solicitation for the purpose of prostitution.
Surrounding the Parliament buildings are some of the meanest streets in the country.
So this broken thing right here is your crack pipe? Yeah. Is that why you're out here, because of the crack?
Yeah.
Get in the car there, darling.
Crack cocaine use has skyrocketed in the nation's capital. It's like two worlds colliding. The pretty and picturesque Byward Market with the charming street stalls attract families and tourists out on a day trip downtown. At night, it's a different world.
The crack cocaine. I think this shit, yo. That's how we doing it.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, that was crack with him.
These images were taken from a stolen cell phone.
Let's see the pipe, man. This fucking bad.
Addicts showing off, taping themselves, smoking crack.
I think I'll hit it again. All right, next one. Shit.
Police watch and wait on the other side of the street as addicts smoke crack all night long.
See in the alleyway? There, he just lit it up. He just lit it up.
Keep your hands in your pockets. Open your mouth. Roll your tongue. How about pipes?
Still smoking.
So hot, eh?
Right in front of a church. It's church property. Can't be smoking crack in here.
Go sign in.
It's like a constant cat and mouse game. Police catch the addicts smoking, but usually there's no arrest.
Why do I let them go? Well, if you can see here, that's where they'll be putting the crack in. As soon as they see us, it just sits in there. So basically, they hit it. And I tried to find it on the ground, but I don't have any of the drug itself. All we caught them was actually smoking the drug. So we need some kind of substance in order to lay a charge.
If crack kills, the homeless shelters are the killing fields. As the number of addicts explode, they feel the brunt of this street scourge. Shelters are packed to the rafters every night. Addicts sleep in the halls or in makeshift dorms in the chapel because there's nowhere else to put them. In the morning, the dealers will be at the shelter doors or in the street with fresh supplies of drugs. There's no shortage of potential customers here, easy prey for the drug dealers constantly in their face.
As soon as you walk out the doors, I mean, there's just crack. It's right there, accessible, and everyone's smoking it, and everyone's asking you if you want some, or if you want to buy some, or if you have any.
Crack cocaine flooded Ottawa's downtown streets 3 years ago when the price dropped from $10 to about $3 a hit. At the Ottawa Mission, Diane Morrison remembers only too well when crack changed everything on the street.
The community, the businesses, and all the people in this area and the shelters were just reeling with the results of that, which meant there was a lot of crack in the shelters. The behavior of the people that were taking crack was erratic, and we were dealing with issues that we hadn't had to deal with in such numbers before.
Staff Sergeant Paul Johnston and Constable John Gibbons took me on a tour of the neighborhood, including the street they call the vein of addiction.
As you're walking along, you can see some of the needles and some of the, and you see areas coming into a gated community, so you can see a needle being discarded right there. So you see that up and down the street. We're the only ones that are out here at 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, and we may be arresting them one day, and the next day we're taking care of him and bring him to the hospital or bring him down to one of the shelters.
Johnston and his officers know most of the locals on a first-name basis, like Mike, who's had a 20-year journey from cocaine to heroin, and now methadone and crack.
It's a horrible drug, and it brings the worst out in people. I mean, you know, someone who's straight and he's not doing it, he can be the nicest guy, but as soon as he does the blast, he'll steal from his mother
just to get it.
Just to get it.
What is that you got in your hand there?
That's a crack pipe. That's what everybody uses on the street.
So what do you do with it?
Well, you put your screen in here and you just light it up and you smoke from this end.
How long has it been since you did your last hit?
Half hour ago.
Half an hour? How about you?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? How long do you guys have before you have to do it again?
Oh,
usually 5 seconds after.
Yeah, you want
like
to.
Right now, you both want to do it again.
Oh, I would like to do another batch. Yeah.
And do you know Paula?
Paula is a prostitute.
Yeah. How long have you been doing crack?
19 years.
19 years here?
Halifax in here.
And how fast did you get addicted to it?
Right away, as soon as I did the first call.
How much does it cost to get enough crack during the day to keep you all right?
I spend anywhere from $50 to $500 a day.
A day?
Yeah.
And how much money can you make on the street?
From $50 to $500 a day.
Police say most female crack addicts prostitute themselves to pay for their habit. The men panhandle in the Byward Market or steal. Street crimes such as theft and shoplifting have soared, but police are working hard to fight them.
Do you hate your life?
Of course, every second of it.
Yeah, we all do.
You hate every second of your life?
Yeah. Plenty of times I want to end it, but I just kind of turn my back and say, oh, hopefully the next minute's going to be better, you know? But it doesn't get any better. This is it.
Does it ever feel
frustrating? It's frustrating at times. When we're dealing with the same person, we get the same promise every day. This is the last time you're going to see me using crack. This is the last time you're going to arrest me. This is it. Thank you for arresting me. It's done. And then we get that same broken promise every day. It's frustrating.
No tour of the neighborhood is complete without a visit to a local crack house. This one just 2 kilometers from Parliament Hill.
Police!
The house is empty and completely destroyed.
Police! Come out now!
Look at this. Come here. You're not going to believe this. There's needles everywhere. There's nothing left of this building.
That's not unusual.
What's happening? Why are they doing it?
Well, it usually starts off with you get 1 or 2 tenants in here that are legitimate tenants. Maybe there's one that's addicted, and then they bring their friends, and then it becomes an apartment takeover or a house takeover, and they bring in their friends and more friends. The good tenants leave, and the bad tenants remain, and their friends stay, and then all of a sudden it becomes so overwhelming. The neighbors start to notice activity, and the neighbors are realizing that they've got a problem next door.
Downtown resident Chris Grinham found out what it was like to live near a crack house.
We had drug runners every 15 to 20 minutes going back and forth on bikes. We had drug addicts in the neighborhood. We had drug dealers in the neighborhood. We had fights. We had crime. It attracts all the negative elements, and it really holds you hostage. It makes you afraid for your children. It makes you afraid to walk the street during the day, let alone at night.
Now, to keep the neighborhood kids safe, he cleans the streets of dangerous, discarded needles that the addicts use to inject cocaine, crack, morphine, and heroin.
I collected this in about 6 weeks in this neighborhood.
And here, among the growing crime and crack addicts, are some of Ottawa's most elegant and historic homes.
I mean, you can't walk down the street without a drug dealer approaching you.
Neighbors and business owners told W5 what it's like to live in Ottawa's downtown core.
I reported about 100 different incidences, be it from drunks, from finding kids on my front doorstep smoking pot, to people dealing drugs, to people being very aggressive towards me without any invitation and being told that if I didn't like living in my neighborhood, then I could leave.
Put it this way, we live in most beautiful historical part of Ottawa and Canada. Honestly, in my opinion, even fathers of Confederation will turn up in their graves if they would know what's going on in our street.
We wanted to speak with modern-day federal politicians about the drug problem in their neighborhood. All of them we called, including tough-on-crime Minister Stockwell Day, said they were too busy to speak with W5. That doesn't surprise local residents.
Well, here you are in the shadow of Parliament Hill. Do you ever see the politicians walking through your neighborhood?
I've never seen anybody come from Parliament Hill. I have cleaned up needles in and around Parliament Hill, though. So the addicts are going to the Hill, but I've never seen any of the people from Parliament Hill come down to our part of town. I think it's disgusting that the capital of Canada has been allowed to turn this rancid.
Next.
Face that way.
Furious battles.
Don't make any stupid moves.
A controversial solution.
Handfuls of pipes being given out to people.
And the man who's ultimately in charge.
Premier, how concerned are you about the crack and crime problem in your hometown of Ottawa?
When CTV's W5 continues.
It's St. Patrick's Day in Ottawa. If there's someone who's hell-bent on saving Ottawa's downtown core from destruction, it's Police Chief Vernon White. He's been on the job less than 1 year, and he doesn't like what he sees.
I was absolutely shocked last February when I came here to meet with the board and accept the job. I was shocked at what I saw in the market.
But we don't have that much graffiti down here, as you see, eh? Tell you the truth.
He's the sort of chief who wants to find out what's going on in the streets for himself.
All it is a place for them to hang around. I watch them going in here, taking turns smoking crack.
How much you smoke today?
I don't know, $50 maybe.
$50 worth today?
Yeah.
How long have you been smoking crack for? How many years?
I'd say about 7.
One of the first things the police chief did when he took the job was start a street crime unit.
Face that way. Don't make any stupid moves.
They're arresting dozens and dozens and dozens of different crack dealers, and we're not talking 15-year-olds trafficking in drugs. We're talking 35, 40, 45-year-olds trafficking in crack cocaine. So I think we have to continue to attack those. That is our job as a police service, is to attack those street-level traffickers, I would argue, who are preying on the most vulnerable of all on our streets.
You know her? No. The guy in the red toque just gave her something.
Vulnerable, like this 16-year-old high on crack.
It's 2439. We're off at 305 Cumberland on a person check. If you want a name, please.
What shelter?
They run her name through the computer. Nothing comes up.
What the hell's going on here?
But her much older boyfriend returns to take her away. And police predict it's girls like this who could soon become prostitutes. And that alarms the chief.
What scares me about it is these aren't someone else's kids. You look into their eyes, you look past the falling skin, the scabs, the cuts, and you see your kids, your nephews, your nieces, your neighbors' kids. These aren't someone else's kids.
How long have you been doing meth for?
It's not meth, it's crack.
And then there's Sean Paring.
Would you mind if I see your legs again?
Yeah.
That's the direct result of all the meth that's